We're going to get cracking in a moment, but before we do, this is an important announcement. The information contained in this podcast is general in nature and does not take into account your personal situation. We don't guarantee the quality of the wine or the banter contained in this content. You should consider whether the information is appropriate for your needs and your daily intake. And where appropriate, seek professional advice from a financial advisor, accountant, bottle shop assistant, or relevant qualified professional. Matters referred to in this podcast are of general nature only, and for those of drinking age, and should not be relied upon in place of appropriate personal advice or the odd glass of wine on a Friday.
To make sure you get the most out of wealth, wine and wisdom, folks, please follow the house rules. Don't be a wallflower, get involved in the chat. We love to have some questions, feedback, and a little bit of commentary along the way. You give us energy, we'll have a good time. Make sure you pour yourself a glass of something wet to wet the whistle. Make sure you get the banter flowing as well. Doesn't matter what you're drinking, whether it's wine, our favourite, beer, coffee, maybe it's a cup of tea, water, or even juice. Keep the good energy flowing, folks. There's some house rules. If you don't put your name down, we don't know who you are, you're not coming in. Don't spam or advertise. This is our little game of cricket. This is all about debriefing the week, folks. What's going on out there in the world, and hopefully get you some sanity, maybe a bit of a chuckle at the end of the week, so we can all be on the same page and keep moving forward. Make sure you respect your fellow patrons, because we don't let any old muck in this place. And most of all, have some fun and enjoy this episode of Wealth, Wine and Wisdom. There you go. Fenton, we're back.
Witten, happy Friday, mate. It's been a little while since we've shared a glass of wine on a Friday evening.
Indeed. And it's been a while since we've shared our Friday evening and conversations with a wonderful crew who's online with us, a bunch online already. So big hello to all of you. Love to hear from you in the chat and let us know. Usually we'd like to start the show by saying hello. And put in the chat, what are you partaking in this afternoon? Andy and I, a glass of wine, and I'm drinking it from a glass. Actually,
Hey, I'm very impressed.
But a big hello and shout out to all of the crew: Honor, Alison, Jeff, Jenny, David, Deb. We're back, lads. Good to see you. Good to hear from you, Deb. You're out and about. Where are you from? Where are you from? Jeff's been in a tsunami and a war. Crikey, Jeff. You're always in something interesting, but that's good. Tash is there as well. The love of my life, supporting on the show as well. So great to have everyone here. Let's get into it, Fenton. There's a lot to talk about. Let's tell everyone maybe why we've been away and why we're back. Let's do it. Well, been having a break. You've been having a baby. We've been having a bit of downtime. But listen, there's lots going on.
Yeah, 2 years goes pretty quick. And Wealth, Wine and Wisdom Season 2, it's here upon us, team. It's what we're calling the exit plan evolution. Because after helping thousands of Australians and small business owners and investors survive and even thrive through the upheaval of COVID, we're back on a new mission, Witten. We're back. Now that the pandemic's over, well, we reckon the real storm has only just begun.
Yeah.
Right? National debt ballooning over $846 billion, about 31% of our total GDP at the moment. And in 2023-24, it's projected to keep climbing towards $1 trillion. Not a B, $1 trillion, team. The fiscal landscape shifting faster than ever. Like we're likely going to have a decade-long Labor government. And we're not biased here. We think that they're all shit. But ultimately, the Labor government are proposing major regulatory reforms that could fundamentally reshape wealth creation and wealth retention over the next decade. So coupled with that, the housing shortages still going rampant, living costs rising, and the greatest wealth transition that's underway, ladies and gentlemen. This is a monumental opportunity for us, but it's also a point of high risk. So Wealth, Wine and Wisdom is your Exit Plan 2.0, guiding you through the political upheaval, economic volatility, legislative change. We'll decode how the policies will impact your cash flow, your capital gains, your property, your business strategy to keep more of what you make so that you can grow smarter in this new era. So join us to unpack what's next. So listen up. This is what we've got to say. Team, I reckon we should decant the week. What do you reckon?
That's what's going on. Great to be back. And certainly, Andy, COVID was a time where it was quite difficult for business owners and investors to understand the changing landscapes. Like you just said, a decade of Labor policies ahead of us, and they're coming for our money, folks. So that's what this weekly debrief is going to be all about. So make sure you lock in every Friday from 4 p.m. Season 2 is on. Andy and I are back. The more wine we drink, the worse our opinions become. Maybe not. We'll make sure we stop at 1 or 2 glasses of wine. But let's crack in, mate. Decant the week. Are you pressing the buttons or me?
I'm trying to find the button.
There we go. Here we go. Decant. Hard to find good help around here, that's for sure. But let me tell you, folks, there's plenty going on when it comes to decanting the week. And one thing, Andy, I want to kick off with, folks, and if you haven't seen this, you need to pay attention. Let me tell you. I don't know if anyone, let us know in the chat if you heard about an accidentally leaked paper. Now, let me put this in perspective. Andy, you and I have been talking about this for a while. Folks, Labor is in. Like Andy said, we think, all politicians are grotty money grabbers. Some are better than others for certain times of the season. But right now we are going to be in a season which we think is going to be pretty average, mostly because we've got record levels of national debt. There are states as well. Victoria, one of them, record levels of debt as well. Someone's got to pay it back. Andy and I were joking yesterday when we let everyone know that we were back on the air that maybe we just should pull a grease, not a grease lightning, but
pull a grease. We'll call it the pull of grease.
Pull a grease.
What is this fucking taxa-fucker stuff? We just don't pay it.
Yeah. Who do we owe it to? Nobody. Well, we're not paying it back. That's what Greece has done. Greece said, well, you can all get stuffed. We're not paying any of the debt back. We're moving on. But right now, that is not happening in our political landscape. If you haven't seen this, check it out. ABC released this article. They've got some links to the papers, but I'll give you the gist of it. There's an article here you can go ahead and read if you want, but the gist of it is this, and one of the reasons why we think our timing to come back is good. The political landscape is that a paper was released from Treasury saying to the Premier, the Prime Minister, listen, we've got a budget issue. This is the gist.
Yeah,
you want
can't manage it.
Budget? You want a sustainable budget? Well, here's what we're going to do. This is the shortcut in the paper. We need to lift taxes. That's what they said, right? They're coming and lifting taxes straight up. Now, this is interesting because if you're not paying attention, some ways like, oh, we've dropped your personal tax rate. Yeah, fabulous. But on the other hand, other taxes are going up. We need to lift the taxes. We need to cut spending. And you know what? Those homes that you promised, we're not going to build them, right? That's not going to happen. It's not happening. Won't be met, folks. Won't be met. This is the gist of what is going on, Andy Fenton.
Do you reckon they've just gone, you know what? We can't build houses. Our square meter rate is $480,000 to build, which is, mate, $10 billion was allocated to their scheme. $10 billion. I think they've spent a quarter of $1 billion, right? And what do they produce? They produced, I think it's 17 built and purchased about 230 odd houses, something like that. It's insane. Like in 2 years since they started that scheme, how many people have we put into houses, and how many people have you put into houses, and how many developers have we worked with that have built? Like we would have done hundreds, if not 1,000.
Give me the 10 billion. I'll sort it out. I'm telling you right now.
100%. Give it to Whitney.
It'll be straightforward. But listen, folks, here's what's going on. I'm going to show you in a minute. Andy might kick off in a second because they're coming already. There are 2 taxes already underway, state and federal level, that you might not be aware of. That's already they're already coming for your cash. So we're going to talk about that today. This is the first part of Decant the Week. Now, the week's been fairly long, probably the last 6 months or 12 months. We're going to pack it into this week and kick off. But Andy, what in your neck of the woods is on the radar when it comes to the taxes? Because certainly for me, I've got one in a minute, but I thought we'd kick off with you today and say, hey, what are they looking at? What's already underway?
Well, mate, we've got the good old Div 293 for those of you who haven't seen it before. And, it looks like is that coming up, Jace? Should be coming up.
It looks a bit strange. Technical difficulties right now. Why don't you try and sort your technical difficulties out, and I might kick off on my end.
All right, let's do that, mate. We'll riff on you, and then we'll come back.
Let's do that because Andy's got his conversation to have here. But listen, folks, what's going on in the world of taxes, certainly in the world of property taxes, folks. Yeah, Div 296, Jeff is on it as we go. And
I just love that you know the actual numbers there, Jeff.
Jeff's been listening in, mate. Jeff's been listening in. But here's what's happening. The Victorians, are winning again. I tell you what, Victoria, you should get some better politicians. You've got a great state down there. Listen, I love Victoria. Great food, great people, great sport. Not so great weather, but you can't have everything great. The state didn't win 7 or 8 years most livable state in a row in Australia, and when it had nothing going for it, folks. It was absolutely amazing, still is, but sadly, I don't know how it happened. Certainly, no one I speak to was any fan of any of the recent politicians. But you've got some turkeys in power, and those turkeys are changing the rules all over the place. One of them, folks, is the land tax rule changed just recently. Now, follow with me on this one, everybody. Follow with me because there's a knock-on effect of this, and I want to connect the dots. I've talked about this before, Fenton. You don't just collect dots, folks, because that's a conspiracy theme. You got to connect the damn dots and find out what's going on, because the land tax world is a real issue right now for the certainly Victorians, and there's also land tax things happening in the rest of Australia. So the land tax in Victoria, they have dropped the threshold, ladies and gents. They've dropped the threshold of land tax where it is payable on a property down to $50,000, from $200,000 to $50,000 of land tax value or land value. Now, why is that so interesting? Or why is that such an issue? Well, for a lot of property investors, unless you've been living under a rock, you may have noticed, or you may have noticed that in your Victorian properties, now you're getting a land tax bill. Now, the average investor may have had no land tax last year, and now this year they've got anywhere on average between $400 to $800 extra land tax. Now, that, for me, that is annoying, certainly absolutely annoying, an extra $400 to $800. It's certainly not a reason for you as a property investor to run away from the Victorian investment landscape. I think there's some good medium to long-term value down there, but the land tax certainly has given it a bad name at this moment in time. Now, that is not the only thing that's going on, though. So what has happened, folks? This is the thing. You've got to have a look at this little rule behind the scenes. Tell me, folks, in the chat, tell me, what is the property that's exempt from land tax for most of us, folks? Put it in the chat. What is the property? Extra $1,500 this year, Tash. That's a lot of dough for most people, no matter who you are. That's a substantial amount of cash that you didn't have to pay for last year. Absolute scam, absolute grotty money grab as far as I'm concerned, Victoria. Dirty play. But tell me, folks, what's a property that we own that is exempt from land tax normally? Put it in the chat. But I can tell you, there you go, $1,000 on a Point Cook townhouse. There you go. It's they're not missing you, folks. Probably 12 months ago it was zero, and now it's $1,000. All right, so Prince Place of Residence, you're dead right, David. That is the one. So let's have a quick look at this. This substantial business activity, what is now going to happen is now this drop in property value has now opened up, folks, a little back door, a cheeky side door for the Victorian government to charge land tax on your principal place of residence. If you've got a substantial business activity happening from home, e.g., if you work from home and you earn over $30,000 of income working from home, like a lot of small businesses do, like a lot of contractors do, like a lot of one-man band do, now they're coming for the Prince Place of Residence. Exactly, Tash. It's a cheeky, absolutely dodgy backdoor into the Principal Place of Residence. They're going, you don't have land tax on your PPR. Well, hang on, work from home. Anyone who works from home. If you're a business owner, you might work from home. Let's say you're a contractor. You might work from home as part of your job. Well, now they're saying, cough it up, team, cough it up, folks. We got you. If you earn more than $30,000, there you go, Fenton, 30 grand. They're going to bang you for land tax.
And I love the way that they say substantial, because let's face it, 30 grand a year doesn't buy you too many coffees these days. You're definitely not getting a latte from the local shop at $7.
Nah. Now that is absolutely lunacy, ludicrous lunacy as far as I'm concerned. I think that's super rude, right?
And here's this, whack it in the chat, team. Like, put a Y in the chat if you knew that this was coming. Or put a no idea in the chat or into the comment section, because like most people have no idea. Even when Jason brought this up to me, I'm like, is this actually law yet? And Jason's like, yeah, this is here now. It's not a hypothetical. Like, where was the project on that? Why wasn't the project reporting on that? Like, where was that? Very, very disappointing.
So and so let's say, Andy, some people might do a bit of Airbnb. Not only does the Airbnb income now fall into this for you at home, you have to now register and pay like $12,000 a year to rent your house out. Now, this is one of the things that really rubs me the wrong way. Yeah, exactly, Tash. After tax, 10 or 15K in take-home pay. It's ludicrous. And then you get a $1,500 bill for your land tax, Tash. It's not looking that flash, is it?
Look at this. We're going to have all of these people who are commenting here. All of them are probably going to end up with land tax bills at the end of the year, and they're going to be going, "What's this for?
Yeah,
who told me about that? When's this coming?" It's outrageous. And the problem is, when it comes to taxes, like, at least some forewarning, Jason. Like, at least a little bit of lubricant before you go in there. I mean, this is just outrageous. But you basically just get these bills and you're like, well, where did this come from? Oh, well, it's a new tax. Well, who told us about the new tax? Where in the budget was the new tax? Oh, we didn't put it in the budget.
Yeah.
Wasn't it in the budget? No.
Well, and this is the thing. They don't call them taxes now. They call them levies, right? And so we just saw, the farmers descend upon, the city in Victoria and talk about a new levy. The cost of emergency services. How's this? Hang on. I thought we already paid rates. I thought we already paid our dues, basically being, part of this state. No. But now, on top of the rates that you pay, we need to charge you for emergency services. That's not included as part of your taxes and your rates. What? So now they're charging, the emergency services as well. So this stuff's lunacy. But hang on, Fenton. We're not finished here in this little section yet. I can tell you, here's the rub, and this is the thing that maybe I'll connect it. I'm going to leave it for a second because I'm going to throw over to you, Andy, and get you to talk about the tax. So there's the land tax bill, folks. On one hand, they're talking about economic economic building houses and whatever. But let's tax all the people who've got them as we go along. So let's see if Andy solved his technical issues.
just had a blow up, but it's all good because I've got good news on the horizon, Jace. Like we're not always, and look, we don't mean to start off on a soapbox. Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, that was a lie. I can't back that up. But ladies and gentlemen, there's another new tax in town, a new sheriff in town. Woo! And this sheriff is going to really mix things up, right? Because let's just follow it through. This is a biggie, team. This is a big one, and it's one of the first big lies of this year. First big lies of this year. And I'll explain to you why it's one of the first big lies, and it's the number one menace, I'm going to call it straight away, the number one menace and possibly one of the biggest impacts on future wealth, next generation wealth, and your wealth, but maybe not yours, right? It's like we may be able to be safe on this one. But if you're somewhere between the ages of, I reckon, of about 30 and 40 at the moment, you should really be worried about this one because inflation is going to get you there faster than you know. So Div 293, Jeff talked about it before. What is it? Well, it's a proposed tax on superannuation, and they're saying it's an unrealized capital gains tax, but it's not. It's not. I thought you said good news, Andy. Hey, the good news. Hey, well, here's the rub, team. For those of you who know us well enough, you know that Jason and I have been talking about this tax now since back in the COVID days. We said it was coming. So we spent a fair bit of time figuring out how to get around or how to navigate through a number of these taxes in order to keep you safe and keep more money in your pocket. So, we might wax lyrical here, but we don't come without any solutions. We just may not be able to share some of them in this environment. So maybe you might have to hit us up and we'll give you the opportunity to be able to do that. It's 3 million unindexed, 100%. So it's a proposed 15% tax on superannuation balances over $3 million per member, right? This includes unrealized capital gains, right? So if assets go up, imagine if your family home went up in value from $1 million to $1.5 million, and then you got sent a bill from the government saying, hey, your house is increased, other than your rates, by the way, which they are.
And now land tax if you work from home.
And land tax. you could actually so this is an interesting one, Jace. And a lot of people don't know this. So if I just backpedal for a few seconds, right, and we talk about the original Div 293. So Div 293 is a tax that taxes people whose income and super contributions are over $250,000. But what people don't realize about this tax is, and this is where the relationship with the accountants is so important, is that from $250,000 to $280,000, so that $30,000 bracket, that $30,000 bracket has an active tax rate of 62%. 62%.
Say that again, Fenton. I thought you said 62%, but I'm like, hang on.
I said 62%.
What a joke.
Do you know the only other income tax that's higher than 62% is the tax on minors? So if you're minor, if you tried to push your income to your children and they're under the age of 18.
Minors. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant like a minor over in WA.
I'm thinking, hang on. The BHP negotiates their own tax rate. I mean,
half of WA just picked up their mobiles and went, what the? So because what happens is you get an additional 15% on your super plus your 47 cents in the dollar. So you're at 62% tax, right? And people just don't understand this. So that was Div 293. This is Div 296. So this is a proposed tax of balances over $3 million, right? And it's a gap. So if you had $3 million this year and next year that grew to $3.5 million, then the tax is on the proportion of that. And I'll get to the calculation in a tick. It's calculated annually, but it's okay. If you don't have enough money in your super, liquid cash to pay it in your super, they're going to allow you to pay it personally. Right, so that's pretty nice of them.
Well, that's nice of them, isn't it?
It's nice.
I wonder if they'll tax me on that, or wonder what they'll tax me on that. Will they tax me my full personal rate, or will I get a concession because it's 15%? Andy, come on, man.
Well, you could get a loan from the ATO, which we would normally pay now it's almost 11% or something like that
11%?
on.
Yes.
Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy.
Ah.
Just take a mortgage out on the property that you can't take a mortgage out on because it's in super in order to pay the tax that you never had beforehand when you put it in there, just because the government can't spend our money properly. Anyway, so this is an example. Imagine you had 5 million, starting balance at the beginning of the year, 5 million. End balance, 5.8 million. Net, no contributions, no withdrawals. So your total earnings were 800,000. Well, we have to figure out the proportion that's over. So you go, all right, how much of that 5 million is over the 2 million, which is 34%. So then you go, okay, the gain of 800 times the proportion, 34, which equals 278,000, means they get clipped $41,400.
On money you haven't earned. There's no real money anywhere.
No.
It's just a made-up bit of paper. And yes, Jenny, the proposal is it's on all assets in your super. There's no grandfathering or hey, listen, what you followed the rules before. You followed the rules in the past. We get it. Going forward, this is how it's going to be. No, none of that. It's a dirty, grotty grab is what it is.
Here's the thing that a lot of people are missing right now. They're just focusing on the unrealized capital gains tax part. They're missing the fact that 800,000 will have already have been taxed.
Yes.
It'll have already had its own tax because it's above the 2 million tax free. So it'll already have had 15% tax applied to it or 10% on the capital gain. So it's tax on tax.
Tax on tax.
It's tax on tax. It's double taxation. We have agreements with like 138 countries or something like that, which bans double taxing, and we're doing it to ourselves in our own country. It's outrageous.
Lunacy.
But the good news is, Honor, you wanted some good news. The good news is there are some people who are exempt. And so we've got a list of the people who are exempt down here. So let's have a look. Team, let's see if you're on the list, right? Governor of State. No, I'm not on that list. Member of Staff of Governor of State. No. The Minister of Government of State. No. Member of Staff of Minister of Government of State. No. The Clerk of the House of State of Parliament. Jeez, I've never wanted to be a clerk so much before in my life. The Head of State of Parliament. The Head of State, you get the message. Team. So effectively, what they've done is not only are they introducing this law, they're basically saying, hey, listen, it's a tax on the wealthy people of Australia, but we're not the people of Australia. We're the emperors of Australia.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We're going to treat ourselves.
We'll make rules to suit ourselves or to impact everyone else, but it doesn't impact us. And by the way, this is the thing, Andy, like put it in the chat, folks. There's a tax on small business. Now, if you're a PAYG employee on today, this is not a slight in any way, shape or form at anyone who works for anyone else, but super is a tax on small business. It doesn't come out of anyone else's pocket other than the business owner or, let's be honest, the cost gets passed on to the consumer. Okay, so what happened just recently? How much do you as a business owner now have to compulsory put in to your employees' super? What's the number? How much? Put it in the chat for us, folks. So what's the percentage? Now that's perfectly fine. Andy and I are massive fans of using super in the right way. We love it. On one hand, Andy, you and I are like, listen, the idea, Jules doesn't muck around. On one hand, this idea for me, I'm not opposed to the idea of going, hey, listen, we need to change some things. Let's do something. What I think is absolutely abhorrent is that good people followed the rules and now they're going to jam them. All right. It should be like, hey, we're changing it going forward. We'll give everyone a chance to rearrange their situation because this will affect some people pretty significantly. So some farmers are going to lose their farms over this legislation. It's lunacy, folks. Absolutely off the charts.
It's destructive. Like good policy and politics is long-term policy and politics. It always has been.
All right, so it's 12%, Andy. 12%. Guess what, folks? Though, guess what? If you're a politician, and actually a lot of people who work for the government, but if you're a politician, how much do you get? What's your percentage? Go and ask ChatGPT. I'll tell you what it is. It's 15%. 15.4% actually. So not only are they exempt, folks, you and I pay 15.4% into their super on the taxes they charge us. And they're exempt from a law that they're passing. Now, they say, oh, this is only for rich people, and Andy dealt with this before. It's not for rich people. It's for people who, if anyone who has a lifetime of effort into the future is going to be well over above this amount, even if they get a reasonable return.
But here's the better news, Jace. I mean, there really is a silver lining to being a politician. If by whatever chance they do end up having to pay the tax, well, they can take a loan from the ATO at below mortgage rates in order to pay that back. So here's this. So they can take a loan at 4.5%. So I would take that loan every day of the week, Jace.
Like they can lend themselves an unsecured loan. Now, tell me, folks, anywhere in existence, can you get an unsecured loan from 4.5%? Maybe from mum and dad, right? Maybe.
But to be fair, Jace, when Leo's old enough, I will charge him market rates.
Charge him market rates. Crikey, this is lunacy. But listen, if they have to pay, because some of them might, because some of them might not be these exempt people. If you are in a defined benefit scheme, now some of our good hardworking Aussies are in defined benefit schemes because they work for certain institutions, so that's perfectly fine. But the politicians, knowing this for themselves, can get a 4.5% loan, unsecured, to pay the bill. And they get to keep the asset, so their total value return is compounding until they have to pay the bill later. It's crazy. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, Jace. Like, here's what I would do is I would go, you know what? I'll take that 4.5%. Because I know my super is going to be earning somewhere between 5 and 9%.
Yep.
Pretty easily. So I'll just keep racking up that debt, and I'm pretty sure that I haven't read the fine print, but they probably won't have to pay it back if they're dead. So I'd never pay it. Yep. I'd never pay it. It's like, oh, it's a fugazi. It's it doesn't exist. It's a tax that it's like,
we pulled the grease. We pulled the grease.
We pulled the grease. We pulled the grease. We figured out how never to pay our own tax back. It's unconscionable, unbelievable.
Lunacy.
Jace, you want to get into politics next year? I reckon, just for the tax benefits, I reckon it's.
Well, I think we all should give it a crack. Maybe if we all sort of do we'll all vote for each other and get in somehow. That might work.
So here's the other thing. So I said that this is dirty, and I said that it's bigger than this. This is the call. This is my first call for the first Wealth, Wine and Wisdom.
Making a call.
I'm making a big call here. I'm going to call this. I won't even go into the statistics. Maybe we'll go into it later. I'm going to call this the gateway drug, the gateway political drug. And for those of you who don't know what it is, gateway drugs are drugs that people have, nicotine, alcohol, marijuana, that lead them on to more deeper, horrible drugs, right? And so this is their gateway drug. So I reckon that because they changed the legislation to tax unrealized capital gains, and I reckon they're coming for this one next, Jace. I reckon they're coming for this one. I reckon they're smoking the ganja of the future principal place of residence unrealized capital gains tax. I reckon that's what's on the cards. That's my call. If they get this through, this will be proposed immediately after, if not very, very soon after. The reason why I know this is because...
Andy, it's already in play. Who knew this one? Who knows this one? Did you know you can not pay stamp duty up front? In some states, you can actually pay it ongoing. There is a scheme in New South Wales. Maybe Shay could quickly look at this. You can elect to pay your payer duty yearly, not in one lump sum. For stamp duty. Now, that for me, that's just a scam. That's just a fugazi for a capital gains tax every year, rather than a gains / land tax on your Prince place of residence. So there you go. I think they are absolutely considering that stuff, Andy.
Mate, it's on the cards.
The cards. Yeah.
And there's another one here, but ultimately, I just wanted to get your take on this, mate, because I wasn't quite sure. I saw these two images, and I was just wondering, didn't Chalmers wasn't he in Caddyshack? Wasn't he in Caddyshack at some point in time? I'm pretty sure he was. But the reason why I bring that up is because the reason what actually alerted me to the fact that this might actually end up being a principal place of residence tax is I saw this, and I took a photo of it, and I just wanted to show you all, because I reckon this is irrefutable proof that he's coming for the principal place of residence capital gains tax. Because I swear it, I saw him just down the street the other day. I snapped this, and I was like, is that really going to happen? Yeah, that's on the cards for the future.
There you go. Yep, Shay just confirmed. In New South Wales, you can choose to pay extra a yearly rather than a lump sum, and they're testing it across Australia at the moment, or in a couple of states. So, I think that one's a slippery slope for me. Yep, there you go. The only state is New South Wales. There you go. So these are the things because this is the challenge we all need to sort of navigate, Andy, when it comes to the world of tax. Not only are we exposed to a national tax scheme, so you got to pay, your income taxes and your, your capital gain taxes and your company taxes and stuff like that, but we're exposed to some state-based tax schemes, and the combination of the two can be absolutely ludicrous when it comes to that outcome for most of us. Now, here's the drill. One of the things that I wanted to circle around on is the conversation around the national housing supply, or the supposed solution, folks, that is offered up by the government. All right. Well, this is well, I mean, I say hilarious, but I tell you what. Anyway, let's have a look at this, folks. We've got a problem. Not only have we got a national debt issue and a state debt issue. Listen, don't take Andy and I the wrong way. We both believe this is an absolute boon for people who are on the right side of the ledger, folks. If you're smart and you know what you're doing, you are going to be so far ahead of people who are uninformed financially. It's not going to be funny. Now, I think that's super sad for the average Aussie. I think the average Aussie is going to be absolutely poleaxed. And, Andy and I have talked about this before. APRA destroyed the financial planning world. 50% of financial planners in Australia left the industry because of the APRA investigation. Absolutely the most disgusting obliteration of a profession in this country I've ever seen. An obliteration that just happened just recently, which I believe the government caused, is the obliteration of the construction industry. 2 years in a row, the largest number of construction company liquidations ever in Australia's history, 2022 and 2023. Folks, it's lunacy what is going on out there with the government not paying any attention. And then they carry on like pork chops going, we've got a problem with affordability, and we've got a problem with delivering properties to market. No shit, Dick Tracy. You've allowed a construction industry to get destroyed because of your economic mismanagement, giving them money away like drunken sailors, and not helping in any way, shape, or form by overinflating the construction industry. Andy, while
smoking on the joint, Jason, while smoking on the joint, because team, if you don't know, and the beauty about technology these days is you can find out. But do you know in in Brisbane and Sydney, what the total government tax is to build a home these days? Do you know what percentage of the build it is that the government gets? So if you pay $1 million for your property that's brand new, how much is government taxes and excises? What do you reckon, team?
Is it if it's a new one? A new one? Yeah. A new property? Yeah.
A new property.
Yeah.
Brand new property. how much out of it, if you buy $1 million property, how much is going to the developers and the people who build it, and how much is going to the government? You will be shocked. You'll be shocked. It's currently sitting at around about $400,000. I think it's $430,000 goes to the government, right? Not a lot left over for the developer, and they've got to make a margin, and they've got to pay their team, and they've got to pay super, and the government again.
Stamp duty, council contributions, GST, you name it, folks. Insurances, it's insane. It's insane. The government saying, "Oh, it's so expensive." Well, you're most of the expense, you bloody muppets.
I mean, they are literally more than the materials to build the thing.
This is the lunacy of what is going on, and nobody is putting two and two together. So that's why we're so passionate about doing this, folks.
But here's the other part, Jace. Well, if we need more places to be built, why don't we release more land?
No, you can't do that, mate. You can't do that.
That means somebody in the government has to work and approve a subdivision.
I'm only in on every second Thursday, but I'm on full pay. It's like, call up and find out when the town planner's in. They're only in every second Thursday, and they're on $400,000 a year. Lunacy. But folks, look at this. This is the innovation and affordable housing. Poor supply. Yeah, no shit, Dick Tracy. We all know this. But here's the drill. There's going to be a shortfall, and a significant shortfall. 262,000 to 2029, folks. They're not going to get anywhere near it. They're not going to get anywhere near constructing these, right? These properties.
Based on how much they've spent, Jason, in order for them to build that many houses, they'd need to spend $15 trillion. They'd need 700 years to do it.
But I tell you what, but Andy, they're going to solve it by helping getting built to rent, folks. Now here's the solution. Here's the solution, Andy.
Shit,
what we're going to do is we're going to disincentivize a supply system that's worked for the last 50 years in Australia, which is using negative gearing to bring stock to market. Now, folks, negative gearing is a very sensible conversation when it comes to how do we encourage the individual to bring stock to market. Right, well, we give them some tax deductions. That's great. Let's do that for individuals. Now, everyone carries on like a bunch of pork chops. Oh, why does that person get a tax deduction? And, the Greens and all of those friggin' lefty, liberal, Nazis, commies, whatever, there's lunacy in their ideas that, hang on, let's fix rents and never put them up and, make property investors, never get a tax deduction for the risk they take. It's just lunacy. So it's crazy. Anyway, here's the drill. Follow me along here, and I'll make a point of this. Here's the idea. Oh, you know what we're going to do? We're going to give BlackRock, we're going to give international companies. What they did is they chased individual investors from overseas out of the country. They go get the individuals away, and we just want to deal with BlackRock and large companies, and we'll give them the build-to-rent pipeline. But you know what? Here's the drill. This is what absolutely infuriates me, Andy, and folks listening in. This is how we're going to incentivize the housing supply. So here's what we're going to do. From January 21, we're going to allow we're going to give some tax incentives to not the individual Aussie that lives in Australia, that needs to create wealth in Australia, that's happy to be part of the supply chain mechanism for a small incentive, which is negative gearing. No, don't worry about them. Don't worry about them. Let's shaft them. Let's take away depreciation for secondhand properties. Let's attack every single tax time individuals' tax rights. No, don't worry about them. Who cares about the individuals? Let's give incentives to big international billion-dollar companies who don't give a shit about the Australian economy. They're just in it for a profit. They don't live here. They don't care. Let's give them incentives. Here's what's happening right now, under your nose, folks. Right, from January 1, foreign residents companies, their withholding tax rate, which was 30%. No, we'll halve that for you, fellas. Half. Not 30% anymore, but you're going to get 15% for the gains. 15%, folks. Tell me, Andy, is anyone else in Australia getting 15%? No. Nobody's company in Australia is getting a 15% tax rate, right?
So let me get this straight. I'm an Australian. I pay stamp duty. I'm an Australian. I pay capital gains tax. I'm in Australia. I pay land tax.
Yeah.
But if I was offshore,
if you were an international,
if I was offshore, so if I was a foreigner, right?
Yep.
Could be from anywhere.
Foreign company.
Yeah. Right? If I was a foreign company, then I don't pay those taxes.
Taking profits offshore.
So literally, they're buying our land. I'm a foreigner. Right. I'm buying land in a foreign company, and I'm getting massive tax breaks, effectively tax-free acquisition, and tax-free holding of that real estate for 15 years. Is that what you're telling me?
It could be up to 40 years. Check this out.
Mate, let's move tax to Dubai. I'm done.
It's ludicrous. I think we should move. Right. So 30% to 15%. Check this one out. This is the thing that goats me, right? As a property investor, you and I, Andy, folks listening in, all of you, you get 2.5% depreciation. You get 2.5% depreciation on your building when you own it. Fabulous. That's great. It's great. It's a tax deduction. But hang on, Andy. Hang on. An Australian resident, we can't possibly give them an incentive. But you know what? We'll give a international company who doesn't reside in Australia, we'll give them more depreciation than less. Not the same. We'll give them 4%, by the way. So 4% in that. Now that's ludicrous. So your tax rate drops from 30% to 15% on your income. Okay. You get 4% depreciation instead of 2.5%. But Andy, guess what? That's not all, folks. That's not all. There's one more thing. If you are a company overseas and you can do some build to rent for Australia and save us, someone else save us, just because, the Australian system delivering our stock has been working forever. It doesn't win votes because the Labor system wants to get rid of negative gearing for some reason. But check this out. Now the states have got involved. You know what, Andy? Guess what? Land tax. We'll put it up. Let's start with Victoria. Let's do that first. Victoria just put land tax up for everyone else. Everyone else got a jamming. But you know what, Andy? If you are an international building company, we will halve your land tax bill. Half for you, Andy. But
I am poor. I'm a multinational conglomerate with only a few $1 trillion in my bank account, Jason. I can't afford to pay these bills.
That's it for up to 30 years, Andy. 30 years. Don't worry about the locals. We'll jam them at the same time. The discount we're going to give you, we'll get it back from the local people. Don't worry about that. How is that even possible? And they're all in on it. The ACT haven't done it yet, but I'm sure they'll get around to it. New South Wales, 50% land tax. They've got surcharge refunds. They've got stamp duty refunds as well. Check out this. Queensland, 50%. Get rid of the 2% foreign land tax surcharge. It's abhorrent. There you go. South Australia's in on it. Western Australia's in on it. Like that, they all must be sitting around going, but how's Victoria? They're like, hey, check this out. Watch this. Not only will we give the billion-dollar companies a discount, we'll jam our voters as well. That's what we'll do. That's what we'll get up to.
Well,
you are kidding.
Mate, I might be hamming it up a little bit. I may have been hamming it up a little bit because the fact is you and I actually found this 4 years ago, during the middle of COVID, because that's when this tax effectively That's when these subsidies were initially brought out. They were brought out while we were locked up and defenseless. So let's see if it works.
Because Luke's moving the Humpty Doo. Actually, you're dead right, Luke. There's no land tax in Northern Territory at this moment in time, so that's maybe where we can move.
So let's just see if it works, Jace. Because if it works, it works. If there's more places, then okay, great, right? If that scheme legitimately puts, Australia with enough housing, then let's shoot. But how many houses since that's been brought in do you think that they've completed? What do you reckon the number is?
I reckon 20,000, 10,000.
Oh, you're well. So there's a couple of reasons behind this. So let's say it's 14,000, right? Since this has been brought in, and I've got to go back to some of my statistics here. But 14,000. Now, how many dwellings do you think get produced by Australian companies? And let's just go for one quarter. How many dwellings are completed each quarter? Well, let's just go Q2 for 2024. It was 44,884. So I don't think it's working, Jace. I just don't think it's working because Australians are outbuilding them by a factor of almost 10 or more than 10.
But here's the rub, Andy. Here's the rub. It does nothing to bring supply to the Australian system because all of those properties have to stay locked up in those entities for 15 to 30 years. They do not come to the free market, folks. They don't come to the free market. So this is the biggest scam. Not only do we not get property coming to the open market, it doesn't add any supply to the ownership market, folks. It is even worsening the future of the lack of viable owner-occupier supply property. It's making it worse. It's giving away land to companies that will not add one piece of real estate to our Australian property supply for minimum 15 years. It's lunacy.
Well, allegedly, anyway. Jace, because I was chatting with a few of my hedge fund mates, and allegedly there are these people who are astute investors who may or may not have purchased land in Australia under these conditions, and the turn dirt clause is pretty lax on it. So the ability to have Australian real estate undeveloped, ready to be developed in your portfolio is an incredible asset to lend against. It's an amazing asset to lend against.
Yeah.
So it may well be that there's international companies banking land in Australia with minimal holding costs and then having it as an asset on their balance sheet that then they can utilize, allegedly. So holy smoke.
Anyway, so that's just two things, folks, that we wanted to touch base about today. There's plenty more where that's coming from. You got to get on the right side of the ledger, folks, when it comes to your financial position. Jenny, need another drink. You're dead right. You're dead right, Jenny. This is the thing, right? Because when we kicked off with Wealth, Wine and Wisdom, Andy, in COVID times, everyone was like, "Oh shit, there's stuff going on. Let's pay attention." The challenge is, folks, it's a bit more comfortable now. I mean, shit, the price of living's up, and there's a few things going on, but it's not as dire in reality, or in the idea that's compared to COVID. But right now, there is so much going on behind the scenes because these debts have to be paid back, folks. And, the politicians are going to do it in a way that is spineless, misleading, and underhanded, because none of them have got the guts to say, you know what, we shit the bed. We all need to suck it up and sort this out. Let's do it, team. None of them have got the guts to do it. They're all spineless, bloody muppets as far as I'm concerned. There's one or two that would probably get behind, but they're nowhere near able to hold power. But, they're more interested in getting voted in than actually fixing the economy. And that's sad for our country. So I think business owners and investors, I think we can take care of things in our way. And that's why Andy and I love doing this show. We want you to know what's going on. We want you to understand it, and we want you to do something about it. So, that's what we're all about.
Ultimately, the control, and we'll talk a little bit more about global political and global investment markets and how they're using political, what would normally not be financial linked policies in order to maintain power, but they're all starting to merge in on each other. And we're going to share a number of those with you over the coming weeks. So scan the QR code and make sure that you join us, because we're not just going to get on a soapbox and talk about the challenges. We're going to bring light to it, but there are solutions to them. And the reality is we can't share a lot of them in these types of environments because there's all sorts of laws that are, prohibit that. But there are some solutions to it. We've been thinking about a number of the solutions to these things for quite some time. We call one of them tax-free for a lifetime. And any Australian who isn't shooting for that, who's over the age of 35, needs their head read. Because, as I said, you don't want to be giving any more to these Muppets than what you absolutely have to. And they're going to take more than that they should. And what was true of what Kerry Packer said in the House of Reps in 1991 is still true today. Every time they pass a law, they take somebody's rights away. And that is what's happening on a day-to-day basis. But there is something that you can do, because with all of this, there is a positive side and there is an inflationary side. And it's like, well, okay, so how do we get on the right side of this in order to be able to make sure that we've got our wealth sorted? Because ultimately, Labor-style policies, heavy tax policies, are designed to keep people poor, just like in the days of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. They had policies to keep people poor in order to be able to control the masses. So what our job is to make sure that we play the right game strategically, minimize the amount of tax that we pay, get into a powerful position. We call it the position of fuck you, but get yourself into a powerful position financially so that you're less susceptible to the laws when they come in and you've got more of a voice.
Yeah, it's inevitable they're going to mess with things. As long as you are on the front foot, folks, so you know what's happening. And absolutely, like Tim's saying, hey, they're talking about dropping company tax, which is fantastic, right? So for many of us, we will analyze the structures of ownership, and we will strategize around what to buy and where to operate and those sorts of things. That's what Andy and I have spent the last 7 or 8 years, combining our skills and our knowledge in, and we've created a thing called Your Exit Plan. Many of you have experienced that. So, if you're interested, folks, anyone listening in today, before we sort of wind up for the end of the day, if you're interested in catching up with one of the team, you can book in a meeting, and we can analyze your situation. So if anyone's sitting there going, shit, maybe I should get my stuff looked at, then have a crack at that, book a meeting, come along and chat to one of the team. But probably a good place to start is come along. Andy is running a night, a bit more of a deep dive on the strategies of how to navigate these challenges and problems in I think next week, Andy, on Wednesday. I think it's
Wednesday next week, 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time.
So get on that little code there, folks, and have a little look at what Andy's got to say about how we navigate and work out a strategy to navigate these things. Because if you are forewarned, you are forearmed, and you can create strategies in and around that, folks. That's what we need to do as we go along. So it's good to make sure you get ahead of that. There you go. Yep. Absolutely, Alison. No, you're doing great, Alison. Make sure you keep it rolling, because no matter where you are on the journey, team, the thing is, if you educate yourself, and education and awareness is so powerful. Don't stick your head in the sand. This is the thing.
Because the ATO will kick you in the ass.
There is always a way through this, because actually, by and large, let's face it, there are pretty good rules created for us to use in our system in Australia to help ourselves financially navigate our futures. Now, the thing is, the challenge is these pricks we call politicians and institutions, they meddle with the rules, and you got to continually adjust your strategy. So it's never a set and forget for 50 years, Fenton. That's the thing. So if people think, oh, you know what, I'll buy my house and I'll pay it off and then I'll be rich. No, that's not how it's going to happen. Yeah. But anyway, mate, it's been fantastic to hang out with you. And folks, it's been absolutely awesome to hang out with you today. Thank you for coming along. Been great to see you in the chat and online. Big thank you. Appreciate you guys being here. We're going to do this every Friday if you show up. If you don't show up, Andy and I will probably take a holiday because we'll probably hang out and chat to ourselves. But we loved hanging out with you guys. We loved riffing today. And hopefully some of our rhetoric lands. But the point is, our takeaway is this. I suppose my 1 minute takeaway, Andy, I'll ask for yours in a second. But, my takeaway, folks, is you need to pay attention to what's going on, educate yourself, be aware. Don't be overwhelmed. There is things you can do and just do them. Get on with the right people and sort them out. What about you, Andy? Takeaway for What Now after COVID, our What Now series. What do you think?
Well, I think that it's a matter of, you've got to pay attention. There are clear signs of what's going to happen. And it's clear, right? The beauty about politicians these days is they're as transparent as Glad Wrap, right? You can see straight through them. Which is a good thing because you know how they're going to treat the game. And right now, you know that they're coming to tax you in every way, shape or form. And there's probably minimal that we can do to resist that. But there's an action that creates downstream. And it's like, well, so how do I get on the right side of the investing world on the opposite side of that? And that will change things, right? If we end up in a time of hyperinflation or significant inflation into the future and you don't own real assets when that happens, you will be left behind.
Yeah.
That is the case. So the information presents a case study to you. The clear is reasonable. The future is pretty clear as far as how they're going to try and get their way out of it, which means that there's only a select few ways that you can manage your future. And at the end of the day, we want to put you in a position where it doesn't matter what happens. You're in a position of security, whereby all of this can be a bit of fun and games where you get a bit pissed off that things aren't being managed the right way because you've worked really hard. But ultimately, you put yourself in a commanding position where, this is not nice stuff to have to listen to on the tax front, but it's not going to impact on you.
Yeah, there you go. All right, folks. Well, there you go. Every Friday up until end of November is season 2. So we'd love to have you join us. If you're listening to the replay, we'd love to have a few questions in the chat. We will go back and have a look at them. If there's things on your mind, make sure you either DM us in Facebook or Instagram or one of those places. Leave a message in the chat. We'll check it out. And we will have a look at some of these things. Our job is to take a look each week at what we're seeing in the marketplace and bring it to your attention. And together we can navigate it, protect your future, protect your lifetime of effort and wealth, and maybe take care of your kids and your family in the future as well. So that's our commitment to you. Thanks for joining us in Wealth, Wine and Wisdom today. Good to hang out with you, mate, and chew the fat. It's been a long time coming, and I've missed it. So enjoying being back. All right, that's it from us, folks.
Well, it's a good night for me.
And it's a good night from him.
Good night, team.
Good night.
Thanks for watching another episode of Wealth, Wine and Wisdom.
Make sure you like, subscribe and turn on the notifications so you never miss a thing, folks.
We'll look forward to seeing you next time.
Debrief the week with Wealth, Wine and Wisdom.
Every Friday at 5 p.m. Victoria and New South Wales time. We know that Queensland, South Australia, WA have different time zones, as does Darwin, but we're sure that you can do the calculations depending on whether it's daylight savings or not.
You can also catch up on all the episodes wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you check out the Positive Mentor podcast from our 6-star team at positivementor.com.au.